And this is CBC Alumni Focus. This is Alumni Director Rob Stagenborg. And obviously, we've been living through one of the most unique and historic times in the history of our country through the pandemic. And certainly, it's had an impact on all of us. But really, in the restaurant industry, tremendous impact. And we want to bring on a couple of our guests, some of our favorite restaurateurs, and two of our brothers, Jamie and Steve Komorek. You guys, welcome to CBC. Welcome back to the CBC show.
Hey, Rob, thanks for having us.
Good deal. Good deal.
Rob,
Well, we talk about,
we're excited to be on.
well, again, to be able to get someone like Steve Komorek is a real get for me, considering we graduated together and all. But
Yes.
bring it back to the talk of the pandemic, and you guys certainly were hit very hard. You own two restaurants, me and Sorella, which is out here in Town and Country, and Trattoria Marcella, which is down on Watson Road. Certainly things were going very well, and then the pandemic hit, and the rules all changed, and you guys were really having to fight to survive. You want to kind of take us through that period?
You got this one, Steve-O?
Sure. So, through the pandemic, and, the very beginning, I remember it was March 13th, was my birthday, and I had sat down at dinner at the restaurant with my family and a couple of friends, and we closed that night, never to reopen, for another, I guess, about 10 weeks. But little did we know that night that it was going to be, a strict closure like that. And we just felt that it wasn't even mandated at that point. We just felt that it was safe. They didn't know enough about the virus and where it was and how many people had it. And so we took that precautionary step. And we immediately figured, what our staff is struggling. And we got to hold the team together. We got to make sure that they're supported. Jamie had the idea of selling gift certificates and then turning the money over to the team. So jointly, the two restaurants sold gift certificates. There was no discounts involved, but people knew that they were contributing to help the staff. And in return, later on would get, to come in and have dinner with us and enjoy themselves. I don't think they realized how much later it would be that they'd get to use those gift certificates, but they're very patient and understanding and very supportive. And during the whole process of the pandemic, between closing and opening and learning new rules and adjusting and new marketing techniques, it's been a real challenge. I told Jamie early on, I said, boy, it's hard running a restaurant during the pandemic. And he said, Steven, it was hard running a restaurant before the pandemic. So, we have been very fortunate. We've been able to keep the core staff. I think we've only lost, a handful of team members. And I think those were just kind of life changes. It was a good time for them to make a change and figure out what they wanted to do. But our team has really stuck with us. And to tell you the truth, the ingenuity, the creativity of everybody pulling together and coming up with ideas has been inspiring for Jamie and I. Jamie, you want to add?
You know what? I'll just go to the amount of support we've had from our longtime guests, our family, our friends, our CBC friends. Best customer of the week, Craig Suntro's been here 3 times this week. So it's nice to see the familiar faces and everybody's supporting us. They have been, but no doubt it's been a challenging year. It taught us how to, to do better takeout, delivery, etc.
And that's one thing I wanted to point out is because I'm friends with you guys and follow the restaurants on social media, and you guys were very upfront and kind of told everybody, here's the situation, these are very strict difficult times, and we want to keep our staff together. You were very upfront about the story and about that you are a family-owned restaurant, and I think that actually kind of helped as you guys were coming out of this. And then part 2 is you had to be creative and you had to start showing your food, and you were doing the carryouts and the family meals. That was really kind of on your toes marketing, and you really had to pivot to meet the needs at the time. You want to talk about that whole decision making and moving in that direction?
Jamie?
Sure. You know what? I really need to point to our staff. They helped us. We've always done to-go business, but it was always a minimal part of our business. Maybe 3 to 5% was in to-go business. During the pandemics, it's been mid 30s, low 30s% of our business. And a girl that helps manage here, Janet Adams, kind of took that upon herself to make the curbside routine and easily translated to both restaurants. Anyway, that's the curbside. I don't think will ever go away. People love it. We're doing a lot of business that way, and I don't see that going away for, if ever, a long time.
Sure. Steve, anything you want to add to that?
Well, you know what, I want to second the Janet Adams thing. She just, you know what, she came in, she's a very forward-thinking person that, you know, kind of take charge, and she's almost single-handedly set up the curbside process, the delivery process, you know, as far as, you know, mapping of where we're going to deliver to. And then we don't do delivery down at Trattoria, but down at Trattoria, she went down there and pulled everybody together and trained everybody down there for the first few days. And you got to remember, those first few days when we opened back up and it was carry out, it was mayhem. I mean, we were doing almost as much business as we do on a, not a busy Friday night, but like a slower Friday night or a slower Saturday night, but it was all in to-go boxes, you know? And
it was a big change and a big challenge.
Right. So Janet was a great help. Amy stepped up his game with some kind of internet marketing and geofencing, things that I've never heard before, which really helped out. You know, Rob, the one thing is we've been so blessed through all these years at both restaurants with a great team and a great following, a lot of friends that come to see us, and you know, just supporting people that we've made friends with through the business, best friends. And I have to tell you, going into the pandemic, we were in exceptional shape. Everything was running full speed ahead and we were doing great. So we're very blessed in that regard that we were able to be stable. It wasn't a complete scramble. When we made that decision to take the time off and everybody stay home and be safe, it wasn't, you know, there were some places that didn't have that affordability to do that. And we were able to take that option. You know, the other thing is the amount of people, when we sold those gift certificates, and even today, you know, we've had people walk in the door at the restaurant and spend $100 and take thousands of dollars. I had one woman who came by my house and said, I don't want any gift certificates, but I want you to give this cash to your staff. And, you know, she's a commercial airline captain, and it was amazing the amount of charity that people had. And, you know, they pulled together as Americans and citizens and wanting to help out their neighbor. And they did great. It was a very enlightening experience.
Well, it was really humbling, to be honest with you. The amount of love and affection we felt from guests and you know, our customers, whatever, it's been amazing. It really has.
You know, Rob, the other thing that was kind of interesting during that point, you know, in the restaurant business, you put in a lot of hours and you spend a lot of time away from your family, weekends, nights, so forth and so on. I don't think I've ever had that much time off since I started working. You know, we weren't completely off. There was work to be done, but you can imagine with both restaurants being closed, it was limited work. So after a week of going up there and doing stuff, the second week there wasn't as much to do except, you know, kind of keeping the staff updated and working on some different ideas and stuff. But so there was I think everybody has got to enjoy more time with their family. That was the plus of it. So
we obviously, you know, each year we do the Taste of CBC, which is an event that helps us kind of, you know, create an event for our restaurateurs and our CBC families. And, you know, this year with the pandemic, we're just really encouraging everyone in our community to go support your local restaurants and, you know, do curbside, do carry out, do delivery, whatever it might be. So the Taste of CBC this year is going to be all about the restaurants. So, you know, our opportunity to give back. But we recently teamed up with Mia Sorella and raised some money for CBC with a takeout service for CBC families. We're able to raise, you know, a nice chunk of change for the students. We want to thank you for that. You know, how about all the CBC folks who've been coming in? Have they been letting you know that they're CBC folks?
You know what? We hear it quite a bit. I mean, you know what? One night, at Trattoria Marcella. Like I'm standing at the bar talking to someone. He tells me, I understand you're a CBC graduate. Yes, we start talking. He's younger. I don't know who he is. I do know some of his family members, though. And then I turn around and these two older guys also at the bar go, I heard you went to CBC. I go, yeah, and they're older than me. And yeah, we both went there too. Class of when, it was like 50 something, it's just, yeah, Pat Garrity was in over the weekend and we started talking about Jim Simon and Tony Mariani were at my bar the week before. And another CBC alum, Dave Jockenhaper, was at the bar. And I mentioned that to them. He goes, so Tuesday night, CBC night at the bar. I said, well, evidently.
Well,
So
I don't know if we want to share names out there. That might not get, that might get some people.
you can edit that. Sorry.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Pat was with his wife, and Jim Simon's wife knew where he was.
Hey, Rob, I want to tell you, being the head of the alumni, one of the great things that when I hear young people go into CBC, the first thing I tell their parents is the relationships that you build there are for life, and that is so true. We've had many customers throughout the years that found out we were CBC guys and they were a CBC alum, and they completely adopted us. They made us their go-to restaurant. They sent people there. They, wanted us to cater their family parties. That connection to CBC, that brotherhood, just keeps going on and on and on. And that's got to be neat for you to be an alumni to be able to experience that and have a little closer knit.
Sure. What's fun is when you get the grandfather, the father, and the son. They all went to CBC in different generations, and the grandfather has a memory of it being very, military, and the father might be a little bit more laid back from the '80s, and the son has a definitely different experience. So yeah, it's definitely a school that's evolved over the years, and that's been the one thing that's kept us really relevant here in St. Louis. But yeah, you guys, we talked about going to CBC in the '80s, and what a great time to be alive. A lot of fun things, new things. Hey, Stevie and I know you and I experienced the advent of cable TV, and wow, that was really a big thing. And Jamie, you as well. So talk about just coming to CBC in the '80s and the friendships that you've made, and have you both kind of talk about it.
You know what? I'll start. Lifelong friends. Most of my closest and dearest friends went to CBC. And the motto "Brothers for Life." I don't remember that back in the '80s, but it's definitely discussed amongst friends now how we made friends back in the late '70s, early '80s, and to this day we're still all close and there for each other. You know what? At my father's funeral, I'll never forget the first two people to walk into the mortuary that morning were two CBC guys that I'm not particularly close with. I'm friends with, but they were the first two there.
Yeah, Rob, when we started there our freshman year, Jamie's class was the senior class. Mm-hmm. So I got to experience the upper classmen all knew who I was because I was Jamie's little brother. Yeah. And it's funny because some of the biggest guys were the nicest, kindest guys. And some of the regular Joe, smaller guys, I'm talking about the big football players. They were so nice. Yeah. As I remember it. Who Mike Gardine. I mean, remember him walking down the hall and those arms he had. He was as gentle as could be to me and always, treated me so kind. And then there were some of my other brother's closest friends that were, sure, harassing me and having fun along the way. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool to actually, get taunted by the upperclassmen if that was right or wrong. But I guess that was our period. And we had a lot of fun. It was great. I remember the first day walking into CBC, Rodney Ragsdale and I carpooled, and it was a great experience.
And the thing that I liked about it was the faculty at the time. They had the personalities. I mean, General Patton, Ray Barr. I mean, you just go through the names and the brother David Keebler, brother Dave Poos. I mean, it was just definitely an experience.
Well, you have those fond memories. What's neat is to see the teachers today, and you get to see them, and whether they're still teaching or not. But I look at Tom Murray, and I'm like, God, he looks so old back then. Or my son went to school over there on Lindbergh, and I walked in and was going to shadow, and Mr. Roan was there, and I thought, gee, Manelli, I remember the first day he came to CBC, and I thought, who's this big old guy, you know?
Mhm.
And he looked exactly the same that many years later. He must have been a kid when he started, you know?
Jamie, what about you? Or some of the teachers that you kind of remember that give you kind of chuckles when you start thinking about it?
Oh man, you know what? Joel Delpha, Bill Belcher, you know what? Tom Murray, Mr. Miller, my homeroom teacher. You know what? I could go on and on. You know what? DC Wilcutt was a legend back then, and I had him for typing class first day freshman year. Remember that quite well. Uh, you know what? I could go on. Dan Barkowski. I mean, all those guys I still think about fairly regularly. They come into mind and remember those times at CBC on Clayton Road.
Brian Haggerty, obviously. I mean,
Yeah. You know what? I shouldn't have left him out.
Yeah, but I mean, even in the religion department, there was a lot of fun characters and a lot of interesting folks, and we all have great stories. Some we can share, a lot we just keep kind of private.
Right.
So, in terms of your pride, you still keep in contact with your classmates. You say you see people coming in all the time. Jamie, how about you? You still kind of bum around?
Oh, absolutely. You know what I joke all the time is the only people I see are the ones that come in the restaurant. We still work quite. You know what? COVID's put us back to work a little. You know, we were not working quite so much before COVID, so it's got us back in the restaurants a little bit more out of necessity. But I do see people regularly in the restaurants, and it's always great to see someone. I'm happy to when somebody says, "Oh, table 52 wants to say hi to you," and I go over there and it's Mike Bond, you know, North County guy. I'm a South City guy. He comes around. Just I could go through the names, but yeah, people show up periodically. You know what? I saw. Oh, heck, John Watson. I was up on a ladder. We were closed to the public. I'm up on a ladder, like doing something with lights. And, oh, there's a guy outside wants to say hi. He said, tell him to come in. He came in and we talked. I'm up on a ladder talking down to him. I could go on and on. Stories like that happen weekly.
Steve?
You know what? All those guys are still my very best friends. And to tell you the truth, it's funny because there's a lot of guys that, you know, when we were in school, we had our own little groups that we were friends with, and everybody was friendly with each other. But it's amazing the relationships that have strengthened through the years. There was guys that were in our class that I was, you know, friendly with. I wouldn't say best friends or anything. But today, I consider them really good friends. Whether we've traveled together or we meet up on trips or have been out to dinner together. That back in the day at school, you know, everybody had their own little group or whatever, and you'd see people at football games and communicate. And owning the restaurant is a great opportunity because you being connected to CBC, you get to see a lot of people. Us owning the restaurant, people come and see us, and so when you see so many people in a week, it's fun because you don't know who you're going to run into. And you know what, the CBC faculty and entire community has supported us. So we've seen all the teachers, Haggerty and Barkowski, and you know, what's Joel Delpha do now?
He's retired. I haven't really heard from him. I know he had been retired and hadn't heard from him.
I asked that
because he passed away.
I knew that Joel Delpha was going to be Jamie's first teacher out of his mouth because he always, for whatever reason, enjoyed Joel Delpha's class.
Great.
Is that right, Jamie?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So again, they definitely were characters. They had a personality, and they kind of formed us into who we were today, kind of through tough love. And you know, people talk about the discipline and the structure of CBC. You know, personally, I didn't find it to be difficult. If you're following the rules, you did okay. If you didn't follow the rules, you ran into problems. I mean, did you see it that way, Jamie? Not saying that you were a troublemaker.
No, you know what? To be honest, I was just thinking, you know what? I only had one detention in my 4 years there, and I had to wait to senior year to get it. So I was discipline was never an issue. Maybe some teachers would argue with that, but as far as detentions, I was a good boy.
Yeah.
You guys want to give a little shout out to your restaurant? Anything you guys got coming up that's brand new? That no, obviously the rules are all kind of changing, and nobody really knows kind of what's going to be happening around the corner. But let's say things start opening up. You want to kind of talk about where you are with your restaurants and what's kind of coming up?
You know what? I'll take Mia, Stephen. So at Mia Sorella, we're open Monday through Friday, lunches at 11 a.m. We're open till 8 p.m. During the week, Fridays and Saturdays, we're staying open to 8:30. It seems kind of early, but the county's insisting we have everyone out of the dining rooms by 10 o'clock. We are limited to 25% capacity. We are doing the curbside. We're doing delivery. You know what? You can come in, have a drink at the bar, and order food to go. We're looking forward to getting some. Well, we're going to be starting happy hour soon. That's all I got, Rob.
Yeah,
Steven,
okay.
what about Trattoria?
Jamie, just a reminder, we are open for happy hour.
We started this week. I thought it was next week.
No,
Well, I've been at Trattoria. I've been at Trattoria all week, so I'll find out tonight.
We started this past Monday, but
I think in the food business, I think in the restaurant business, the days just run together, don't they?
right.
Well, you know what? We go back and forth between the two restaurants also. So and I was thinking it was this coming Monday, but I obviously missed it. Whatever, it's fine.
Today's the day we flip flop. He's back out at me and I'm back down at Trattoria. But you know, at Trattoria, when I left the restaurant, they were putting together typesetting the menu up to go back to a full-blown menu. So look for that in the next week or two for the full-blown menu to come back with lots of new great items. We got a great chef down there. Nathan Hatch is a young man. He's taken full control and he's come up with a lot of great ideas. We aren't doing happy hour down there, but you know, the good thing about both restaurants, we have pretty good size. So during the 50% in the city and 25% you're definitely socially distanced. You know, we have dividers between tables. I think everybody can find a place that they would feel safe. Trattoria still has their outside patio open. It's partially enclosed, but there is some panels that allow outside air, and we do have propane heaters out there. And we're moving ahead. And I'm excited with the prospects of the vaccine and people getting vaccinated and getting back out to a little bit of normal this spring, this summer. We start feeling a little bit more. I started feeling more positive this week. I walked in, tried me or Sorella last Friday night. I had to run to the store, and I came back in, an overwhelming feel of joy to see people in the restaurant. And I thought, boy, it's just so nice to have guests. And it, kind of felt empty before. So
trust me, if someone has been locked in my house with my family, getting out to a restaurant is a huge deal.
Yeah.
We're able to do it. So, and as we kind of wrap up, just want to let people know, certainly want to let people know to patronize your restaurant. You guys have been in the business. Obviously, Mia Sorella is 10 years old now, or?
It's going on 9.
Going on 9. And you've been at Trattoria since the beginning of time, basically.
Over 25 years.
Yeah. So just wanted to give everybody a plug to go out and see these guys and definitely bring up some CBC. And let me ask you guys, what's your go-to meal when you have to order? What's the one that you like to go for? Not a promotion, just what's your favorite meal?
Ooh.
At our restaurants, you mean?
Yeah, at your restaurants.
Boy, you know
McDonald's.
what? I'm a big fan of both our cannelloni and lasagna, Trattoria Marcella. Boy, our pizza, our hand-tossed pizzas at Mia Sorella are really, you know what, I'd put it up against any pizza in St. Louis. And I'm not bragging, that's my brother's recipe. And he knows I'm a tough customer.
Yeah.
Steve, what about you?
You know what, I'm all over the map. I love our salads. I'm a big salad eater. I think we do a really good job with the salads. We got some new salads coming on the menu down at Trattoria. The Brussels sprout salad at both restaurants are fantastic. You know what? I eat the homemade toasted ravioli, and we get a lot of accolades for our toasted ravioli. But my wife will bring them home, and I'll eat one cold out of the refrigerator, and I think, gee, they're even good. So our homemade toasted ravioli never ceased to amaze me. We're trying to do, and we do a pretty good job, I think, at some really basic quality, handmade, well-sourced food. So we're not overly foo-foo. And as I grow a little bit older, the less foo-foo I want to be, I ate our burger at both restaurants. I mean, with COVID, we put a burger on at Trattoria Marcella. And I've eaten the burger and I thought, gee, I'll put it up against some of the best burgers in town. It's, there's lots of good burgers. Not trying to say we have the best burger in town, but it's a pretty darn good burger. EBK's favorite, our steak sandwich on cheese garlic bread. Wow. Tenderloin. If you haven't had it, Rob, try that one.
I'll try that. Now, real quick, I know we talk about peak times. You guys obviously Friday, Saturday nights, really call ahead, get reservations. Is that kind of how you work at both places, or?
Trattoria Marcella does take reservations, and you can make them from our website at Team Marcella, or you can call as well. But me as Sorella is just strictly walk-in, Rob, and it hasn't been any issue yet. We keep in the back of our mind COVID and the fact you don't want to keep people waiting, but really it has not been an issue. So we're still on a walk-in basis here at Mia Sorella.
Good deal. Well, again, thanks for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and pause this. I'm going to hold you guys over. Thanks for joining us. Anything you want to say to the CBC community?
Thank you. Thank you guys for thinking of us and keeping us in your minds as we do CBC.
Amen. Thanks to CBC. Thanks to our brothers out there.
Good deal. This is Alumni Focus. We'll catch up with you next time.